gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. MacArthur, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've talked about what I think should be our priorities in this reauthorization. Affordability, certainly mitigation is critical. I want to focus for a few moments on accountability, which I think needs to be a priority as well. And all of my questions and comments come out of who I represent. I represent southern New Jersey, the epicenter of Superstorm Sandy. October 29th of 2012, my district was devastated. Lives, homes, businesses, neighborhoods, communities, and we've all seen probably photos of the iconic Jetstar roller coaster sitting in the ocean. That's my district. Right. We've seen photos of the house sitting on a little island in the middle of a newly created inlet that went right through an island. That's my district. Those are the people I represent. And you mentioned earlier, Mr. Wright, 144,000 flood claims came out of that event. And of those 73,000, about half were in the state of New Jersey. And of those, 36,000 were in my home county. 50% of the claims in New Jersey were in my home county. Do you know how many people, I don't expect you probably do, but that are still out of their home now, nearly 5 years later?
I don't, sir.
Thousands of them. And might you guess the leading cause for people to still be out of their home 5 years later?
I don't know.
It's a gap. And it works like this. There are resources from a flood policy, maybe resources from a FEMA grant, like a REM grant, to lift a home. There are resources from an SBA loan. There are private savings that people have put away for retirement, and they keep inching towards completion, and they run out of money, 95% there, but they can't get a certificate of occupancy. Right. So getting paid fairly at every step of that chain is absolutely essential for my constituents. And that's where I want to focus for a few moments. What percentage of the underwriting risk does a write-your-own carrier take?
Zero.
Zero. Would an engineer or an adjuster have any financial incentive for depressing the amount of a claims payment?
They should not.
They should not. I want to read to you not testimony, but commentary from your predecessor, I believe, Brad Kieserman, who in February of 2015 said this on 60 Minutes, that he had seen, this is a quote, had seen evidence of fraud in reports used to deny them, the policyholders, full insurance payouts. Again, I'm quoting, "I'm not going to sit here and conceal the fact that it happened, because in the last 3 weeks I've seen evidence of it," said Kieserman. He went on to say that they had seen evidence in late 2013, a year after the storm, but nothing had happened. I'm going to ask you, Mr. Wright, to look at the two photos that are up on the wall. Do they look like the same photograph to you, left and right? I assure you they are, and they came out of your files.
Okay.
I would ask you to read what is circled on the photo on the left.
Floodwaters damage heater and boiler.
Can I? And that was dated November 12th. And on the right side is the photograph that was sent to the insured on 11/26 when their claim was denied. Can I ask you to read what is in the circled box on the insured's photograph?
Floodwaters do not damage water heater and boiler.
I don't have time, unfortunately, to put up a series of these very similar photographs, but I assure you, and I trust you'll accept that it's accurate, that they all do the same thing. You reopened thousands of claims under some pressure by me and others. Can I ask how much you paid from all of those reopened and litigated claims in the latter part of the process?
We have paid out an additional $350 million so far.
I'm going to stop you there because I have only 30 seconds left, and I have to end with commentary.
I'd ask for unanimous consent to give the gentleman 1 more minute of time.
I'm very grateful for that. You were under pressure in FEMA, and I recognize you weren't in the role then, but FEMA, under pressure, allowed my constituents to reopen claims. 50% of the claims in my state, 25% of the claims in this entire episode, you reopened them and you paid out $300 million, you just testified, $300 million that would not have come to my state had you not been under pressure to reopen these claims. Sir, I beg you, and I am telling you that when we reauthorize, me and others will be watching to make sure that there is accountability in the process. The McKinsey study that was implemented by your company suggested that people ought to pay, your adjusters ought to pay within ranges. Is that correct?
So
I don't have time to actually let you answer. I know that's what it did because we've had plenty of testimony that it did. We had 5 whistleblowers that I have statements from, affidavits from. I'll read you the quote from 2 of them. We received instructions not to conduct a comprehensive evaluation of claims. We were directed to tailor evaluations to fall within a range even if we identified additional covered damage. That was one of your employees that was a whistleblower. Another said there was an elaborate process designed to justify minimum payments to policyholders irrespective of the actual merits of the claim. Mr. Wright, this is completely unacceptable. $300 million of additional funds paid that would have been denied but for the pressure that was on your agency. You are charged with helping the very people that have suffered the most, and my constituents got cheated, and so did others across New Jersey and across New York, and you have to fix that. You have to fix that process so that people at least are getting paid what they are owed, and it doesn't create a gap that keeps them out of their home for years after these events. I yield back.
The
Thank you.
gentleman's time has expired.